Hello everyone and welcome to Fletcher Farms Amarillo. I'm Julie Fletcher. I just wanted to start this video off by saying thank you all so much for all of your support and generosity. We were able to raise enough money for the 2 Belgian Draft horses that were at Bowie Texas Livestock on the direct ship lift. Lot 8111 and 8113. We were able to raise enough funds for them, and we did rescue them if you didn't see our short videos on Instagram or Facebook or on YouTube. So we went and picked them up last week. This was a little bit of a different trip for us because Corey had to work, so Taryn and I drove down to Bowie, which is about 4 hours for us. Drove down there and picked him up and brought him back, and this was a little bit from us picking him up.
Both horses were waiting for us when we got there. They were ready for their halters so they could have their freedom ride home.
Do you think I should load her first or put the other one in first?
Tony, who's in this video right now haltering the horses, he said that the 2 girls had been bonded and that they were staying together down in the pen area. So we were really glad to hear that they were friends and that we were bringing them home together. After getting an in-person look of this horse with one eye, the tumor that's in her left eye did look to be a little bit bigger than what was shown in the original video. So we're a little bit concerned about her eye and what we're going to be able to do with it. As you can see in this video, the other horse does have a swollen back left leg, and when you see when she goes up in the trailer that she doesn't put any weight on that back leg, we're a little bit concerned about her as well and what Dr. Waggoner is going to be able to do for her in order to get her leg feeling a little bit better. You never know how these horses are going to act when they get in the trailer, especially when they get into the trailer with another horse. But as you can see, we have never had a problem with any of these horses in our trailer, and that's a great thing. Everyone was loaded up, and we were ready to take our 4-hour drive back to Amarillo to their new retirement home. After about 30 minutes of driving, I always like to stop and check on the horses and make sure everyone's doing well. That's usually our first fuel stop on the way back. And I always check on the horses and make sure they're doing good. And this was from our first stop when we were on our way home. And this video was from our second stop. They were still doing well and were eating a little bit of hay. And usually by our third stop, they're exhausted and they just want to be home already, just like we are.
So this video is also going to be a name reveal. The girl with one eye, we decided to name her Pearl, and the other horse we decided to name Fiona. So welcome Pearl and Fiona to the Fletcher Farms Amarillo family and the Big Hoof Foundation. We're so excited that we were able to save these 2 beautiful horses. This was a little bit from their time here on the farm.
After a long day on the road, Taryn and I successfully took our first trip to Bowie Texas Livestock by ourselves to pick up the horses. This was us unloading the girls when we got back to the farm. It's always fun to see the herd come and greet the new arrivals and to see the new arrivals' reaction to the herd. This interaction was pretty uneventful, and the girls were calm and relaxed with the rest of the herd. It took both girls about a day to come inside the barn. It always makes me wonder what their lives were like before they arrived here at the farm. This is Pearl and Fiona enjoying some grass hay, and that's Zeus over there as part of the welcoming committee. Both girls were eating, however, I was concerned about Fiona as she wasn't eating as much as Pearl was. So that was definitely something that I was going to be bringing up to Dr. Waggoner when we brought them for their vet appointments. The first day, both girls stayed together at the end of their runs and were just checking things out. It was really sweet that they were staying together and wouldn't go anywhere without the other one. So I'm really glad that they're able to stay together, especially since Pearl is blind. From the first day, Pearl has been nothing but a sweetheart. With only having one eye, she is extremely trusting. However, Fiona is not as trusting as Pearl is. Pearl would let us pet her from the first day. However, Fiona is pretty standoffish, so we are still working on being able to get hands on Fiona. I absolutely hate seeing these livestock yard tags on the horses, so as soon as the horses will let me, I cut their tags off as soon as possible. This was Pearl letting me remove her tag. And I really hated that I had to cut their manes, but of course they use super crazy sticky glue and it just won't come off any other way.
Is that a good muffin? Good girl.
After a few days, we were able to finally get hands on Fiona, and I was able to get her wiped down with fly spray. She was very excited about not having flies all over her anymore, and as you can see, she is just the sweetest little girl ever.
Oh, poor lady.
And in a few days, both of them were waiting by the fence in the barn for breakfast.
And I wanted to get this video out today because we took them to the vet. We took all 3 horses to the vet today, and I wanted to make sure that we got this out and got the information to everybody, because since everyone was so generous and we were able to save these lives, we wanted to make sure that you guys were informed on what was going on with their lives. That's one of the biggest things that we want here with the foundation and with the farm, is to keep you informed on how these horses are doing, because they're as much our horses as they are yours. So we took Ava, which if you haven't followed along with the channel, Ava was the horse that we rescued before I got into my accident and got a concussion. So if you didn't see that video, I'll put a link in the description below to our update video from when we got Ava. But Ava has a chunk in the corner of her eye, so to say. So it looked like what Aurora had, which was a horse that we had that had passed away back a few months ago. She had a tumor in her eye and we had that removed. Aurora did pass away from colic, if you haven't seen that video. But we did have the tumor removed and did some chemotherapy on her, and she was doing really well. So we wanted to do the same thing with Ava because we thought that this was the same situation. So took her down to the vet today with Pearl and Fiona, and this was from their vet visit today.
I don't think I've ever shown a video of us loading up horses here at the farm, so I thought I would share that with you today. This was the first time that we were taking 3 horses to MVP for any appointment, so this was something I wanted to share. Each horse that rides in the trailer, they do get a bag of hay. It seems to keep them calmer during our travels. Thank you to everybody that has supported us and bought us hay bags from our Amazon wish list. This was all 3 girls in the trailer when we arrived at MVP for their appointments. Since Ava was last on the trailer, she was first in to see the doctor. This is Dr. Waggoner from Mobile Veterinary Practice taking a look at her eyes for the first time. MVP also has a new veterinarian. This is Dr. Maggie. She was taking a look at her eyes as well. And as suspected, this was a tumor on her third eyelid that needs to be removed. So we're going to go ahead and have that tumor removed. This is Ava receiving her vaccination, and this is everything that she needs in one shot.
So Zoetis kindly donated vaccines to cover all of this herd, which is great, and they're a really great organization. They manufacture the core vaccine that we use all the time at our clinic.
We're super excited and very grateful for them to have donated those vaccines to us.
The two girls were a little apprehensive about going inside. With every initial vet appointment, Dr. Waggoner does a regular health checkup, which listens to their gut sounds, their heart rate, their lungs, and everything else that's functioning in their systems. We also do blood work to make sure that no one has any infections and that everything in their systems is functioning properly. Dr. Waggoner started out by examining Pearl, and this is her taking a look at her other eye that has a possible tumor in it.
So we can see more of the tumor. We already discussed this, Maggie, so no answer, no carrying up the answers. So is that normal or abnormal?
Abnormal.
Okay. What is the most common, or what are some common differentials?
MVP is also a teaching school, so Dr. Waggoner was asking one of the students who's interning for the summer some questions about what she thought was wrong with Pearl's eye.
So can we remove that's the lower lid one?
I guess you would probably worry about your tear production if you're really needing to hear your membrane, so you can't.
Well, so is it the nictating membrane?
I guess no, that's a conjunctiva. But you'd still worry about, I would think, like your conformation of your eyelid. And
Dr. Waggoner was discussing here with Dr. Maggie if they would be able to remove the tumor from the bottom of her eyelid and what type of complicated surgery this might be.
So you could possibly remove some of the lid one, but it's going to be really hard to get the eyelids to function somewhat normally, because I don't think, I thought about, okay, maybe we can just shell out like this more bulbous part,
that kind of shelf there.
but all this is also cancerous. So you're looking at taking the entire eyelid, and I don't know how good that's going to do. Can you remove this other tumor at the lateral canthus?
so since it's attached to the cornea.
Yeah, your best chance possibly debride the surface of it to debulk it, but I think it comes back angrier than when you start, probably. Would steroids help shrink it, or chemo, or do we not really see it? So we have chemotherapeutic eye ointment that we will use, and she has, the first one we looked at has a third eyelid on one eye and a lateral lesion on the other, so we'll use the ointment on the lateral lesion in the other eye. So yes, we can explore that for this eye as well.
Dr. Waggoner was explaining here that they could remove part of the tumor from the bottom of her eyelid, but she was worried about it coming back. However, they are going to use a chemotherapy eye drop for an extended period of time in order to try to give Pearl as much time as we can give her. This tumor will most likely still come back because it cannot be completely removed.
This is pretty advanced lesion as well. In that I don't know that it's really resectable. Like, I can try to debulk it, and maybe that's what we do tomorrow, just try to debulk it, but that's going to be a very temporary fix because I'm afraid it comes back angrier after I inflame it and start messing with it.
Could we do like the chemo drops in her as well afterwards and try that? Like, can that be used for a longer period of time to try to maybe help with it?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously at their age, we just want to make them as as comfortable as possible and give her as much, life as we can possibly give her.
Absolutely. I think if you want to try that on her, that's totally fine.
Does she have a third eyelid, or is that been removed?
It might have been removed. It did not come up normally.
Okay.
I don't want to, I'll stick my finger in there tomorrow if we're doing surgery to actually investigate that.
Okay.
Her eye's not blocked, so I didn't want to see her today, but so I don't know that.
Okay.
Sure.
Whatever we can do to keep her as most comfortable as possible is, what we would like to do.
So not so good news for Pearl. The tumor will most likely come back because it's not completely resectable where Dr. Waggoner can get the complete tumor out. So she is explaining here that the tumor will most likely come back, and at that point we will have to make a decision what to do with Pearl. But for right now, we're going to debulk the tumor from her eye and have the surgery done, use the chemotherapy drops for an extended period of time, and give her as much time as we can give her in order to let her live out her life peacefully. This is a picture closer up of Pearl's eye and just how bad the tumor actually is. And Miss Fiona, she got her dental done. Since Ava and Pearl were going to be staying there, Dr. Waggoner was going to do their dentals tomorrow while they were under sedation after their surgery. So this was Fiona getting her dental done. Her teeth were pretty good. They did take off some of the sharp points on her teeth and got her into a place where she needed to be so she was able to chew more comfortably. Since these three girls were at the vet's office, we did get them their vaccines that were donated by Zoetis. We're so grateful that they donated vaccines to the entire herd, and at some point Dr. Waggoner will come back out to the farm and get the rest of the herd. This is Fiona also getting her dewormer, and Ava and Pearl got dewormed as well. We also did x-rays on Fiona's leg to make sure that it wasn't injured and that was the reason for the swelling. Dr. Waggoner did not see anything indicating that it was an injury, so she does have a little bit of arthritis in that leg, but however, this is the same situation as Quinn, and she does have laminitis in this leg. Basically what that means is the lymphatic system does not drain properly and causing what most people call a milk leg in draft horses. So we're going to get her some acupuncture, and her blood work did show that she had an elevated white cell count, which is SAA, indicating that she has an infection. So we don't know if that's part of her leg issue or what, but we're going to treat for that. And her liver enzymes were also elevated. So she's going to be on some medications for a couple days in order to get her feeling better and on the road to recovery. So Ava and Pearl will be spending the night tonight at MVP, and they're going to be having their eye surgeries tomorrow. We'll keep everyone informed as much as we can as to how the surgeries went. And this is the girls getting into their runs for the night. I'm so glad that they were able to have runs next to each other.
Pearl and Ava are going to stay there for tonight and have their surgery tomorrow on their eyes. Dr. Waggoner is going to do their dentals as well while they're there and get their teeth checked out. So lots going on, lots of things happening, and I've got a donkey that's trying to eat the stick here. Yeah, what are you doing? I know, girls, I know. But everything else is going well here on the farm, and So again, thank you all so much to everyone that participated in our fundraiser for these horses. We are going to do another fundraiser for their medical. These were definitely bills that we weren't considering, we weren't expecting to have with all the x-rays and the medications for Fiona. Today's visit for Fiona was $1,000, and then with the surgery tomorrow for the other two horses, Dr. Waggoner said we're probably looking anywhere, and with the dental and everything else, we're looking at roughly probably about $2,500 to $3,000 for their medical. So the last day and a half has been about $4,000 in medical bills. Once we get the final numbers for Pearl and Ava, I will get those bills actually posted on our website at thebighoof.foundation.org, and the fundraiser for their medical bills are going to be posted up on the bighoof.foundation.org's website. So if you want to participate in that, and I hate asking because we just did this fundraiser to raise all this money to save these horses, and now we're doing another fundraiser for their medical, and we just really can't thank you enough for all of your support and generosity. The other thing that we are going to need are some latex gloves, so I'm going to add those to our Amazon wish list. Because of the chemotherapy drugs, we have to have gloves on at all times using that medication when we treat the horses. So we're going to put some other supplies that we need on our Amazon wish list, and I'll put a link in the description below. But if anyone has any questions about today's visit, put them in the comments below and I'll try to answer as much as I can. I also wanted to announce that we finally got our Patreon account set up. I will put a link in the description below to our Patreon account. We're going to be doing daily pictures of all the horses, and we're also going to be doing some live question and answers on our Patreon account. So we're really excited about that and getting all of that going. We will still have content on YouTube, but there's going to be exclusive content for our Patreon subscribers on our Patreon account. So we're super excited about that and getting that going. And again, stay tuned. We're going to have more updates, and we'll keep you updated on how the girls are doing after their surgery. So thank you again for watching. We truly appreciate your support, and we'll see you soon. Thanks. Bye.